steeples. Daniel Duffy wasn't happy with the start, but they have let it go anyway through this first chicane up on Cameron Road. Big field of Fulton Hogan Rotax lights. Tony, what's the secret of getting these Rotax FR125s around the street circuit like the Tauranga street sprint?
Yeah, it's a big change from a sprint circuit. Obviously, you're dealing with a track which is quite bumpy. Try and set the kart up as soft as you can so it's going to ride the bumps, but not so much that the kart's going to run too free. Try and drive the kart pretty straight and be pretty sensible about it's the main thing, really.
So down off Elizabeth Street, down here onto Glasgow Street. That chicane through the middle has been pretty spectacular throughout the weekend. John Van Bommel gets sideways up onto 3rd Ave.
Yeah, these boys are running a lot of teeth on these karts. He's got this big hill here to climb to get up on the Cameron Road, so you hear these things pulling a lot of RPM.
John Van Bommel with the race lead, chased by Daniel Duffy. Duffy didn't get a very good start. This first chicane up on Cameron Road's really closed up. There's Will Thomason. We saw his incident in heat number 3. He's been in the wars this weekend. Goes down the inside of the 19 of Rob Pakes. He picks up a position. He started at the rear of the grid for the final.
He certainly had his work made up from Will, but he's doing a good job. He's going forward.
Running the Intrepid chassis out of Italy, of course. As they work their way down Elizabeth Street, the fastest part of the race course. And the open class karts that we'll see a little bit later have been topping out at 155 plus kilometres an hour over the weekend. What sort of speeds are we seeing from the Rotaxes? Oh, Will Thomason! He made a mistake there and oh, he's behind him. There's a kart upside down. That's a nasty tumble. That's the 21 of Michael Lilly. What happens here? This is Thomason down, got way too much of the chicane. He managed to straighten it back up, but carnage in behind him. And that's the 21 of Michael Lilly having a big tumble. He gets straight back up, and thankfully he's A-OK.
Yeah, it's a fairly big dump, but it's good to see these boys are standing up all right. That's good to see.
So thankfully Michael Lilly OK after that tumble. Back to the restart for Fulton Hogan Rotax Light, and it's still John Van Bommel, and he's doing double duty like Daniel Duffy this weekend. Campaigning in Rotax Light and the Yamaha Lights class as the 33 goes around. That's Paul Smith. So before that incident with Will Thomason, we were talking about RPM, Tony. Yeah,
that's right. You know, these boys are running a lot of teeth around here because they've really got to climb that hill up onto Cameron Road. And top speed-wise, you're probably looking at around the 120k mark, and that'll be achieved down this bottom straight here.
So John Van Bommel, chased by Daniel Duffy. They've been like that for heats 3 and the final. Nicky Irwin's not too far behind them there in the 42.
Back in 4th and 5th, that's young Whitney Claxton and young Matthew Hollier. These boys and girls are doing a really good job here.
Yeah, young Whitney's had a pretty solid weekend. Young lady driver out of Mount Wellington in Auckland. Matt Hollier's only just recently moved up from the junior class.
Yeah, it's actually Matt's on his second meeting in Rotax Light, and Whitney didn't qualify that well. She had to work away from the back, so fantastic job by these two.
79 is Blair Rogers, one of the locals here at the Bay of Plenty Kart Club. 18 Dylan Steeples just in behind him, and Warren Hindrup in the 57 making up the top 8. It's very, very close out front. Battles right through this field. There's that tricky chicane down on Glasgow Street.
Yeah, what they've done down the bottom of the circuit's a really good idea. Last year they had 2 chicanes. They've opened the circuit up a little bit down the bottom just with 1 chicane, and it's certainly made a huge difference to the track.
So it's a rectangular anti-clockwise course for the Castrol Tauranga street sprint. This Rotax Light class lapping in the mid-53 second range. That's an average lap speed of about 74 kilometres an hour.
It's fairly quick over that distance, ain't it, Jamie?
Yeah, it certainly is. The Bay of Plenty Kart Club have done an outstanding job with this facility for the weekend in front of a massive crowd. Something over 8,000 people on hand in Tauranga to witness this wonderful spectacle. John Van Bommel and Daniel Duffy continue to go at it.
Young Daniel's doing a really good job here. It's pretty hard when you're following someone. I've done a couple of street splits before, and you need a bit of vision, and he's right up behind John, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Up off the final corner. Up onto Cameron Road, Dufty pulls alongside, trying to force the issue, trying to force John Van Bommel into his mistake at the first chicane.
Yeah, last lap, John's going to go defensive. And he's got a lot at stake here, so I'm interested to see these next couple of corners.
As you said, Tony, you're unsighted if you're following another driver, so if they run wide, you tend to get into trouble as well.
You do. It's very easy to outbrake yourself when you're that close to where Daniel is. So, but these boys are experienced.
Dufty again looks to the outside, the left-hander down onto Glasgow Street.
I'd say if John drives it nice and straight, he should have this tied up here.
Nick Ewan lying in wait back there in third. If these two get together on the last couple of corners, Nick Ewan could pick up the pieces and go to victory. But at the moment, John Van Bommel, Dufty climbing all over the curbs. Up the hill, gets some good run off the final corner, down to the checkers. It's going to be local John Van Bommel. And it's a local 1, 2, 3. John Van Bommel with the victory from Daniel Dufty. Nicky Ewan third, then it's Whitney Claxton, Matt Hollier, Blair Rogers, Dylan Steeples and Warren Hindrup. John, congratulations. Fantastic victory in the final of Rotax Lights. You're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, thanks very much. Stoked with that. There was just a class, we went into full numbers at first and we thought we'd give it a real good shot. Real happy, Had a lot of pressure from Dufty though,
Daniel, fantastic race there with John Van Bommel. You didn't quite have enough at the end of that one though.
Yeah, we been battling with him all day. He just had a little bit more of me down the straights, but we sort of caught him up the turns. But yeah, there's not much places to pass on this track, so yeah, it was a bit difficult.
You run with hand controls in this kart, which is pretty unique in New Zealand kart sport. This would be one of the more physical tracks that you've got to deal with. How do you contend with that running around this Tauranga street track?
Mate, it's just like playing PlayStation, really. It's a whole lot of fun, and people ask me that all the time, and I don't know any different, and I think it's really neat. Yeah, it is a little bit disadvantage. It takes a little bit extra, brain power to make sure all your fingers and digits are moving in the right direction, but hey, I got a pretty good result, so, I'm pretty happy with that.